Arsenal 26 presents GunFighter Mod Update Sneakpeek. Welcome to the Arsenal 26 surplus store coming to a town near you. A long overdue completion of the tooltips information will allow you to see probably more information than any normal person would ever want to see. As we browse through the metric crap ton of weapon optics, you will notice that there are 3 real-world specs. Reticle size is denoted in minutes of angle or MOA. The size of the aiming reticle applies a weighted affect to the hit chance modifier for the optic. A small value indicating a fine reticle will increase hit chance, but may also apply a negative modifier to aiming time since it would be slower to pick up. Conversely, a larger value representing a large reticle may sometimes decrease hit chance as a trade-off for a positive effect on aiming time since it is faster to pick up. Aperture is the viewing end of the optic and is denoted here in millimeters. Larger aperture means faster optic, all else being equal. Objective is the size of the larger lens for magnified optics, denoted here in millimeters. Larger objective lens provides a larger field of view which reduces tunnel vision, ultimately improving aiming time. However, any level of magnification will detriment aiming time as magnification increases. Next, we will have a look at the single-shot rifle, an American classic, but really shitty in terms of keeping you alive in the zombie apocalypse. For this reason, some bonus realistic awesomeness was added by way of interchangeable barrels in popular hunting calibers. Hopefully, this will make these iconic utility rifles a must-have in any survivor's arsenal. When you're down and out, and only have those loose rounds remaining, you will be able to configure each of these single-shot rifles to make efficient use of a scarce ammunition resource. You will be able to find Thompson Center compatible barrels in hard-hitting .308 Winchester, 30-06 Springfield, and 45-70 government calibers. This is truly the kind of stuff I like to do. Probably because I have one of these old girls in the safe. I hope this appeals the same to some of you folks out there. Here we have the New England Firearms Handy Rifle with 2 dual-caliber barrel options. The ever-popular .38 Special 357 Magnum chambering to bring those handgun rounds up to near 30 levels of energy. Although a pistol bullet lacks the ballistic coefficient and range potential of flat-shooting rifle rounds, 357 mag out of a barrel such as this allows peak pressure to send it at your target, rivaling 30 energy levels, at closer ranges that is. Swapping out to a 45 long Colt 410 gauge shot shell barrel will give you 2 outstanding choices. One for mid-range and another for close-range threats. 410 double-aught buckshot will give you a smaller pattern compared to 12 gauge, but enough to increase your pointing speed and confidence. Great overall round for beginners. When you spot targets a bit further out, you can send them a nice big hunk of 45 caliber lead complements of Samuel Colt. Along the way, you will undoubtedly find yourself going from the vast open countryside into the urban sprawl, where things can get up close and personal real quick. Just find yourself a decent hacksaw and shorten the NEF handy rifle to something a little faster pointing, and problem solved. This configuration will not only save you a bit of weight on your supply runs, but it will prove to be extremely versatile, as you can run 2 different round types when your ammunition supply starts to look a little thin. Efficiency and conservation will be the word of the day, when you find yourself using up resources in order to acquire new ones. This little SBR will get it done. And being a PCC, or pistol caliber carbine, I promise you, that it will be easier to shoot for low-level characters, since a shouldered weapon, of this weight, firing a relatively light cartridge, will be easier to handle. The new hotkey functions will allow you to swap to compatible round types on the fly, once again, making weapons of this type much more relevant than they were in the old days. Okay, enough of the Discovery Channel bullshit, let's get to what you've all been waiting for. The update brings hotkeys to bring your fighting prowess to levels never before seen or felt. You will be like water in the art of Kung Fu. You will be like beat up little Bumblebee when he finds a fresh energon cube. Pressing the square bracket keys will cycle up or down through the compatible magazine types for each weapon. Once you see the desired type, simply press the reload button to insert your magazine type choice, assuming you have one in your kit. Unlike the previous context menu function, you are not required to have the mag in order to select its type using the hotkeys. A last-minute hotkey addition is the select fire function. Press the backspace key to cycle through available fire modes for each weapon. Full integration of the experimental burst code further expands the pure skull-fucking ability of this mod to new levels. Most of the weapons in Britas Weapon Pack have been, or are currently being, examined to apply correct and accurate nomenclature per each real-world counterpart. Most will rejoice at this level of realism, and yet some will cry out in pathetic yet loud whimpering, at the fact their favorite weapon is not actually a fully semi-automatic assault-style weapon designed only to efficiently yet brutally kill baby seals and puppies in mass numbers at record-setting speed. That surely should be banned in all nations everywhere in the world. But for the rest of you, who are slaughtering zombies the way you should have been all this time, and saying, "Get some. Yeah motherfucker, get some." You will not be crying out in sorrow, but rather evilistic exuberance, at the realization that automatic weapons do not have to be like some damn rated PG Disney shit. Justified by the notion that somehow making it behave like it does in the real world will make it OP. Oh, go shove your OP in your anus. Yeah motherfuckers, get some. The current state of the mod allows for several fire modes that can be used in weapon scripts. Semi-automatic, 2-round burst, 3-round burst, automatic, and then there is 3 rotary and 6 rotary for miniguns, which behave somewhat differently than regular guns. As it is in the real world, semi-automatic fire consists of aimed shots. Acquiring one sight picture for each trigger pull. 2 or 3 round bursts, however, will unleash multiple rounds upon the first sight picture. For this reason, there is no additional hit chance bonus aside from the additional rounds fired with their own hit chance. So if you are expecting laser beam-like accuracy as a result of rapid fire, you may be disappointed. The downside to rapid fire comes on the back end in the form of recoil, where subsequent rounds, if fired in rapid succession, will then be penalized in terms of hit chance, if the dynamic recoil option is enabled. As you progress to larger caliber weapons which generate greater recoil, you may find that they are not easily controlled when firing in full auto. Fret not, as your skill level increases, you will be able to manage recoil from such weapons more effectively. But also keep in mind that this mod will always aim to mimic reality wherever possible, and if a weapon is a true brute to use, then no number of attachments or bonuses should ever make a 30-06 stream out of a machine gun like a 22. I can't help but think about all the people crying about not being able to find ammo, in light of this newfound ability to send vast amounts of lead at rates not previously possible. To that I say, it's a survival game, not an action shooter. Embrace the challenge. Learn to conserve, treat it like a life lesson. Just because you can, doesn't mean you should. I will personally never intentionally distribute ammo to ensure each gun you find can enjoy endless streams of irresponsible usage. But rather, I will always lean towards ensuring the challenge of what it is. A survival game, where you have to manage your resources. This update involved culling through literally hundreds of weapon scripts, which then each must be looked up online to get real-world weight, sight radius, fire modes, among other parameters used to script them to function in a scaled manner between each other so that a heavier gun specs out like a heavier gun should, and a nicely weighted rifle demonstrates its inherent accuracy over an SBR, and so forth and so on. Though admittedly not perfect by any means, I can at least say that a scaled effect is in the script parameters of each weapon, and that scaled effect is indeed based on real-world data wherever possible. You may not be able to notice many of these scaled parameters, such as it is, in their real-world counterparts. But a method had to be established, in order to script the hundreds of firearms, and all their variations, so they were not a random bunch of recollections of how which gun seemed to be like in this game, or that game. Truth be told, the scaling effect resulted in very little difference between similar size and weight weapons of the same caliber. Where the differences exist will be from one caliber to the next progressively. The burst code injects changes in several ways. The first thing to note is that max hit count, which gives you the perceived ability to send rounds at multiple targets, cannot coexist with the bullet penetration stat. So, in order to simulate the ability to fire upon multiple targets, penetration is disabled, and replaced with simple, multi-target. This is unfortunate, but there doesn't seem to be a workaround at this time. Furthermore, full auto is simulated with continuous 3-round bursts with no delay between them. This means that, no matter your trigger discipline, 3 rounds will always fire in automatic mode, with the exception of shotguns, which is 1 shell, and miniguns, which is 6 rounds. The burst code also injects a new generic sound effect determined by caliber, and will actively look for rounds remaining, so the last 2 or 1 round does not sound like a full burst. The recoil is also calculated differently depending on fire mode because you are firing more rounds, which should be simulated as cumulative recoil in terms of controlling the weapon for accuracy. The rate of fire for shotguns with select fire automatic mode remains largely unchanged, such that they do not fire anywhere near the rate of rifle cartridges. That said, those of you who like to run folded stocks non-extended in order to save weight, had probably better consider deploying them when using full auto, as this will reduce the recoil considerably. And to the road warriors out there, remember that folding those stocks back up, or using a bullpup, sawed-off long gun, or pistol, will point faster in the confined spaces of vehicles. By point, I don't mean just faster sticking it out there. I mean do that, and the time it takes for the little recoil indicators to return to center, telling you that you are aiming as best you can at that moment without moving further. This sneak peek demonstrates most but not all of the upcoming features and functions, because I wanted to give you all an idea of the breadth and scope of applying these to each and every gun in the weapon pack. If we had only a few of each category, we would have probably seen these updates a month ago, and likely, more or better functions and features in addition. But like they say, you can have either quantity or quality, often not both. At least not quickly. I took some liberties with Britas Weapon Pack, by scripting 1 or 2 variations such as this BNT MP9N. I did so because the BNT 380 is semi-auto only, and I felt this weapon should definitely be in the update all things considered. The SKS with Dragunov stock I have slung is another custom variation that may be available later, but it's not done yet. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the sneak peek at what's on the horizon for Britas Weapon Pack and the GunFighter Mod.